Hey, everybody. Hello, storytellers. Welcome to Storytelling Tarot. This is Jada K Story, and I am so excited to be here today. Hopefully, let me know you can hear me. Hey, shout out. Yeah, gotta have the intro music going, right? We got some things to talk about, but we gotta start it off with some kind of vibe, right? Make sure you let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Because I have some things that I want to, like, some things on my heart that I want to share real quick. I sent out, hey, welcome in, y'all. So if you are, thank you. I'm glad you can hear me. So, what are we talking about today? It's a time right now in the Twitter sphere. For those of you who are on Twitter, I know that I'm a Twitter head. I've been on Twitter since 2009. It's been a long journey with Twitter, and so many changes have been happening. And so today we had probably one of the most shocking changes, which is the owner of Twitter decided to place limits on the tweets, not only that you tweet, but that you can see. It's kind of reminiscent to the Twitter fail whale. I wish I had the graphic to show people, but we did. We used to have a Twitter fail whale where if you were tweeting too many times back in the day, there would be this whale that would say, "Hold up, you got to calm down." We used to be in Twitter jail a lot. If you tweeted too many times, there was a limit. Well, the uh, owner of Twitter has decided to make that a little more, to kind of take that up another notch. And so now basically you got to pay to play. If you are verified, if you pay for Twitter verification, then your tweets are more visible, and you can read more and see more. And when I say see more, I mean some of us can't even see our own tweets. Like, it's real deep. So why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this in Storytelling Tarot? Hey Portia, welcome in, welcome in. We're talking about this today because my heart just grew so heavy, because in my sphere of Twitter, um, obviously I'm a Black woman. Obviously, I have a lot of Black friends and queer friends and trans friends, and we utilize Twitter as more than just a place to market, right? It's a place to connect. It's a place to get our news, to stay informed. It's a place to raise funds and crowd fund for people's survival. Over the last like week or so, um, I was a part of helping two Black people get housing, and so Twitter did that. Within 20 minutes, we were able to get someone housing for a year. That's major. And so not being able to see other people's tweets, not being able to hear other people's needs, that's a big deal. If you are Black, if you are trans, if you are disabled, if you are any other person of color, this is huge. This is huge. So my heart was just weeping for us. And so I said, let me stop and ask the ancestors. Let me stop and ask the spirits what they have to say about this. And so I joked around with a friend of mine. Their name is Winter. And I was saying to Winter, oh, wow, I just started. This is the first day of my sabbatical from taking private readings. And I was like, of course, the ancestors will have it that we can't even engage with each other on Twitter. It's like a way for us to be focused, right? Um, and so it just made me think there may be something to this. Um, I know that the feelings may be some people may be feeling different things, right? Annoyance is probably the first thing. Um, Despair for others, sadness, anger, frustration. But I wanted to know what the ancestors had to say. So um before I could even like start, as I was just sitting down with like that prayer on my heart, I was just shuffling, thinking about this, and two cards came out. And so we're going to start with these two cards. And then for those who are watching live, if you have like other questions that come up for you as we're talking about this, let me know. And if it resonates and is right for the moment, then I will pull on it. Um, But I think what was really on my heart is what is the way forward for marginalized people if we don't have a platform like Twitter to connect with one another? So the two cards that came out together were the Four of Swords and the Star. The Four of Swords and the Star. And I was like, okay, very loud, very clear. This feels like a time for us not only to rest, right? Rest is the first thing that comes up when we think about the Four of Swords. We see this person who is lying on their back, these swords, they're in a meditative state. They have their hands as if they're praying, right? But what is it that they are lying on top of? It's a coffin. It's a coffin. So this is a card of remembrance. This is a card of gratitude. This is a card of being present with the moment of the things that have passed on. Remembering the way that things were, remembering the people who were here, and taking a moment to pause. And so that's the first thing that's coming out that's like deep in my shundo, y'all. It's like spirits are saying, all this work that y'all are doing, the crowdfunding, the boosting of funds and the boosting of news and whisper networks and building community and sharing tips and recipes. We did all of that before social media existed. Mm. And so, what is it that the ancestors are calling us to remember in this moment? Is to remember the ways of old, which is difficult, right? Because we live in a different age, right? We're in 2023, where we are living in a time when, when, like, some of us, I remember there was a tweet a while ago where someone was saying they thought it was strange that neighbors would talk to one another, that they would prefer not to, the people around them not to know who they were, and vice versa. And see, knowing your neighbors, knowing the people in your community, that was a way of survival. And so, with Twitter kind of doing the thing that it's doing, my heart was wondering, what is our way forward? What do we do? And so, the first thing is really like a cry for us to pause, remember, and reflect. What's interesting is the first thing that I thought of is, okay, if we don't have Twitter, we have to be creative. It's amazing how when you don't have certain devices, when things are removed, you then have to use your creativity. You then have to use your devices. You then have to go into your altar and figure out, okay, we have to get real creative. We've been talking a lot about the Seven of Swords on Twitter, actually, within my community, a lot about the Seven of Swords and how we as Black people specifically have to operate in the energy of the Seven of Swords, because the Seven of Swords is the energy of under the cover of night. We use our strategies and we use our will to survive to make sure that we all make it. How do we come together now? How do we reach one another now? What is necessary for the moment now? Look at this testimony in the comments. Portia says, I'm crying already. My book is coming out in September and Spirit told me to do it in person. Talk to the people, put the book in their hands. Come on. So I guess this is huge confirmation. It is. Because social media is good. It's been used for good, for good uses. For a lot of us, this is how we market our businesses. This is how people have found Storytelling Tarot all this time. And yet, there may come a time, y'all, where all of this social media stuff goes dark. And we have to know our way forward. And so the ancestors are asking for us to come back, to remember. And then what happens when we recall, when we remember, when we start to reconnect differently, the star? It gives us hope again. It reminds us that what has passed away was not the end of us. Twitter's never going to be the end of us. Even if we all go to Instagram and Instagram crashes, it's not going to be the end of us. Even if we all go back to Facebook, it's not going to be the end of us if we don't have those things. If there's no more YouTube, how do you find the hope and the faith in you and use that remembrance of the ways of our ancestors to reach out? There are so many people, excuse me if I get emotional, but there are so many people that we walk past every day in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in the grocery stores, in line to pick up our children from school, who have needs. They are days away from not being able to pay their rent. They don't have anything to eat. They just had to put the last of what they had in the gas tank so they could go to work or so they could take public transit. And so, in a way, social media has kind of robbed us a little bit. But the spirits are saying, but we can remember a day when we were no longer walking around like this. You can't see, I have my phone like this, and not fully engaging with the people around us, not seeing the needs that are right in front of us, not connecting with those who we love who are right in front of us. We come from survivors, so we will survive. And we have great needs, right? Social media has served us well. For me, it has created a lot of beautiful community. Many of you here in the chat right now are people I've met online who have become like family and friends to me. And I wonder what is possible when we begin to engage those who are in our vicinity. We do crowdfunding now online. They used to call those rent parties, where you would gather together, have a hat or a bucket at the door. We're gathering money so Susie down here and the babies can stay here for another month. Portia's got a book coming out. Come on down to the car. I got a whole bunch of them in the trunk. Come buy them. They're good. You need help taking care of the babies? I'll take care of the babies so you can go out on a date because you deserve it. And then next week, you can keep my baby so I can go out and have a good time. We've been missing that. And it's not just social media, right? We also live in the days of COVID, in the days of the plague, which has made connection really hard. So we have to be very intentional. But I'll tell you this. We also come from people who have survived pandemics and plagues. You are the testament that they survived and made it. Yeah. Yeah, you got to sell the CD out the trunk. You used to have the homies coming to the beauty shop or the salon or the barber shop. Check my music out. It's fire. I got so many in the trunk. We've been kind of removed. But what I also feel is anytime we see the Four of Swords, it's a reminder that things are about to get busy, that things are about to become active and activated. And so the star is also here to remind us to be hopeful and to have faith, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of shifting and changing in the world over the next coming days, weeks, months. We already kind of feel it. We've already seen with the stuff that's been going on in the news over the last couple of days. It feels like perilous times. And so they want us to remember them, first of all. Remember us, your ancestors, whose blood is flowing through your veins, for we have survived the unsurvivable. And you are the testament of our survival, and you carry our genes and our DNA and our will and our weapons and our wonder and our wisdom, and you can do so much with that. And so while it's hard to connect with one another right now online, on Twitter specifically, what are the ways that we can reach out and connect with our elevated ancestors? How can we reach out? What did Diana Ross say? Reach out and touch somebody's hand. How can we do that? How can we engage the creativity that we have been holding and carrying and been casting aside because we've been distracted? How can we now say, this is the time? It's time to work out the stuff I've been dreaming about. This is the time. So yeah, we got to safely leave our homes. We got to start waving to each other when we pass in the street. We got to start pausing in the grocery store when we ask somebody how they're doing. Wait to see what they say. We got to give someone maybe a little longer hug when you see them at your church or your synagogues or your spiritual houses. We can no longer rely on, oh, I'll just see them on the timeline. We got to get down in the earth now. We got to go outside and be with nature now. We have to go back to those ways that ground us and keep us and will fuel us for the future. It reminds me of the clearing, that scene in Beloved, when the women and the men and the children all gathered in the clearing. And there was laughter and there was dancing and there was weeping when the people gathered. Something happened when the people came together. And we've had glimpses of that beauty on social media. But the magic of that, the fullness of that, will happen when we can begin to gather safely together. But you know, we are the children of the enslaved Africans, kidnapped and brought to America, the Caribbeans. And it was at a time illegal for us to gather because they knew when 2 or 3 are gathered, there the divine is in the midst. There the ancestors are in the midst. And we will begin to use the strategy of the 7 of Swords, and we will begin to reclaim what's ours. We will begin to revoke the power that was taken from us and reclaim our dignity, our humanity, our rights. So we are coming upon a full moon. So I'm going to pull a full moon oracle. Let's see what the message is in this moment as we talk about these things. Spirit, what do you have for us in this moment? Let's get another one. Let's get one more. What do you have for us in this moment, Spirit? This one. Ashe. We have step out of your comfort zone, which is the North Node. And we have meditate and contemplate, the new moon in Pisces. We have to allow this time to help us shift perspective a little bit and to see it as a coming back to or returning to the days of old. How can we step outside of our comfort zone? Portia already said, Spirit said, it's time for me to go out and meet people and tell them who I am. Put a book in their hands. That's stepping outside of her comfort zone. How can you step out of your comfort zone in this time, in this season? Not just because of what's happening online, but in general. Where can you expand yourself? Where can you test the limits of what you thought was acceptable now that you have the bold, courageous reminder of who you are, of whose blood runs through yours? And that reminder of meditating and contemplating, coming back to this message of remembering, recalling, becoming rejuvenated and resting so that we can receive clarity and understand what we need to do next, how we need to do it. So I know I came on here with the idea of how we're going to make it through. I actually don't have all the answers, but together we do. Together we will. What did Kendra Lamar say? We're going to be all right. I feel that. The gears are turning because now the ground is ready. We're going to be able to hear differently. We're going to be able to start, those gears are going to start turning because now the creativity is being turned back on in a different way. It's interesting. Even today, knowing that Twitter was acting the way it was acting, I didn't even bother to open the app, even when I got a notification, because I was like, once I go on there, I'm not going to be able to have full access. So now what will get your time? What will you put your energy toward now? How can you meet certain needs in your life? How can you meet the needs of others in your life? How can you show up for yourself now differently when you step outside of your comfort zone? I think that's all I have to say. Does anyone have any questions that they would like for me to pull a card on? It can be regarding this. This is free, by the way. I'm doing this because I feel so called. But does anyone have in need of something? If so, drop it in the comments, and I will pull a card for you, a card or two. Y'all know how I do. But we are going to be all right. We're going to survive because we always have. And that's important. So I'm going to give us a couple of more minutes. Just make sure that I'm not missing anybody's question. While we are waiting, I will let you know, since you're here, we have a very intimate group live today. Normally there's more people, but people don't know that I'm here because social media isn't letting them know, but that's okay. If you found this live, you were meant to be here. If you're watching the replay, you were meant to be here. But tomorrow, July 2nd, I will be doing our Tell Me Something Good. We're going to look at all of the astrology signs, and I'm going to do some tarot scopes on what goodness you can expect. Even in the midst of all of these things, there's always some goodness that we can look forward to. That's what the star is. It's the hope that we can look forward to. So I will be doing that on July 2nd to let y'all know what goodness I see. And there's going to be a world of good because we have always been our best thing, as Toni Morrison was saying. Oh, thank you. Love the goals. Yeah, it's a new thing and I'm trying out, so I'm glad that you like it. All right. Well, if there are no questions that people want me to get clarity on the tarot from, then I just want to thank you so much for spending this sporadic impromptu live with me. Um, I just want us to know that no matter what kind of schemes these people pull, they will never kill our spirit, no matter what. And that's why it's so important to be in contact and in connection with our ancestors. Yeah. May they be blessed. May they be praised. May you enjoy the rest of your day. May you feel encouraged. And may the creativity start to blossom and bloom. May you start to find ways to integrate these things we've talked about. May you get the clarity and the boldness. May you find community where you are, and may you gather, and may the connection of spirit be so good to you. May it be make you full to overflowing. May the divine cause their face to shine upon you. I wish you many blessings, so much peace, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.